We've talked about this, and some of you are saying, man, that's it. I've had it. Not going to get back in the rat race. If the shutdowns, I should say the lockdowns, proved anything, it proved that a lot of people took another look at their lives, what they could do without, to have more time at home. Well, maybe bosses are miscalculating just how much some employees want to work from home. A new survey said 96% of workers would take a pay cut to work from home permanently. Well, the question that follows, if you work from home, should the company still pay you the same? Now, I don't really see that. I mean, that shouldn't be a bargaining chip. They drew the analogy, if you were making big money in New York's Manhattan district, but you now work remotely in Manhattan, Kansas, should the company cut your pay since cost of living's over 150% higher in New York? Honestly, that sounds sketchy to me. That's why we're going to talk to Michael Cupps, Senior Vice President of Marketing for ActiveOps. Sir, thanks for being with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick. Nice to be here.
A lot of people are talking about this now. They're re-examining their lives, their work, their family life, and yeah, it was a pain to be locked down, but a lot of people found the bright spot being they kind of enjoyed being with their family more.
Yeah, it could be being with their family or being away from the people they work with, but either way, they did find that it suits them better for various reasons, and now they're seeking opportunities, whether they're with the current company or other company, to have that environment to work in.
96% of anybody on anything on a survey is quite a bit. What are they saying? What is their primary reason for wanting to continue to work from home? I mean, in some cases, like Bill, my producer here, he's physically got to be here to run the board for broadcasting. I could broadcast from the back of a 75 Dodge wagon, I guess, but some people have to be in the workplace. Why are most people saying they don't want to go back to the office to go to work?
Yeah, Rick, I think it comes down to a couple things. Some of it is just that quality of life that you mentioned earlier, being closer to their family, being a part of the family maybe that they missed in some of those afternoons or mornings and so on. But some of it is cost and stress. Getting back in your car if you haven't done it for 24 months and fighting traffic, finding parking, you have to pay for parking, commuting costs, tolls, whatever that may be. It adds not only stress but financial burden. Plus eating out, things like that, all come into that. So I'm guessing, I was shocked as well with the 96%, but maybe they're willing to trade some of that because they see, the downside and the cost of actually getting into the office every day.
I know in my own case, it costs just over $700 per month for me to come into the studio to do the same job I could do from any place else. $700 a month, in a year, that's over $7,000. It's between gas and tolls and, just an hour in, an hour and a half back. After a while, you go, why am I doing this again? I forget.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I can see why a lot of people are doing it. But what about if these people are met from management? And I'm not trying to throw a wedge between workers and management, but when management says, well, if you want to work from home, we'll have to cut your pay. Does that make sense?
That absolutely doesn't make sense unless you want to lose your best people. Companies, maybe they aren't equipped for it right now, or they weren't certainly at the front of the pandemic, but they have to have control systems and reporting systems in place.
Sure.
ActiveOps does that, but as long as you are managing the output and meeting expectations of that output, then it shouldn't matter where you work. And certainly managers have to learn new management styles, but as long as that production's there and you can count on it and you can predict it and you can plan ahead, meaning the manager's planning who's doing work and what time and what day and all that stuff, then it shouldn't really matter where they work. And so threatening them that you've got to bring them back into the office seems like a short-sighted objective, because you're going to lose good people because they realize they're in the same home office they're sitting in today. They could work for your competitor for maybe more money better benefits and do it from home without the stress.
Well, let me ask you this, because I've never got a really solid answer on this. Why do companies resist people working from home when they could, for all intents and purposes, do the same job in a home office that they do in a corporate office? What's the resistance there? They think they're goofing off, or what is it?
I think that's part of it, but I think it goes back to just the way they were trained. So our managers and directors and executives of today were trained back in an environment that home office didn't exist. So they were trained to use their eyes more. And what I mean by that is, that Bob's in that cubicle and Mary's in that cubicle, so now they feel good that they're working. Well, they could just as easily be doing something else but not working in those cubicles. But it made them feel better. And so when the pandemic hit, they almost had blindfolds put on them, and they had no idea what their people were doing. And I think the first assumption, because of their bias and the way they were trained, is that person wasn't working. But with the systems we have today and the reporting capabilities we have today, you know who's working and who's getting their work done and the quality of their work. So it's a bias that was kind of trained into our kind of managers of today, but they need to retrain themselves and reskill themselves, because that's not only the expectation of people that went through the pandemic, but younger people entering the workplace do expect that flexibility.
Well, you're the senior vice president of marketing for ActiveOps, and this is basically what you deal with all the time, right?
That's right. Well, we help companies put in systems and data where they can actually start managing and do forecasting and planning about, optimizing a hybrid work environment. We see more of our big customers, which tend to be big banks and insurance companies. There are some that are saying everybody back in the office, but many of them are saying we want some sort of flexible work environment where maybe the more senior people get to work from home all the time, maybe, one day in the office every other week. Younger people come in for more training along the way and more interaction, but then they earn the right to work from home. So we help them with the visibility of the work outputs, the well-being metrics, and things like that. And once you have that data and you have a system, a coaching system around it, then it becomes quite easy and actually quite rewarding, because those managers, by the way, could also work from home.
Okay, final question. I appreciate, by the way, you joining us this afternoon, because this is an issue that a lot of people are struggling with right now. In your experience, have you seen people that work from home produce as much, more, or less than those that are working from the corporate office?
That's a great question. We actually, because we're a SaaS platform, we see the data, and we saw productivity go down dramatically when the pandemic started, which is no surprise. People had to get laptops online and things like that, Zoom and things like that. We saw it actually come back to normal and go above for quite some time, where we saw about a 15% increase in people working from home. Now, some of that may have been attributed also to the employees feeling like they had to work harder to make sure that their boss knew they were working.
Sure.
And then it kind of leveled out. But we're seeing both. And there's still people that do want to come in the office. You mentioned Bill that needs to be in the office to run the board. There's some jobs that you just have to be in. And so we're seeing a nice blend, and that hybrid workforce has a great benefit to everybody. Not only does their well-being enhance, but you also can save on real estate space. You can do all kinds of different things now to still engage your employees, but they shouldn't feel like they have to come in and pound the rocks every day.
Okay,
you know what I mean.
I lied. This is my final question. If somebody's listening right now, and we're coast to coast via the web, and just on the stick, we hit most of the great state of Texas. If somebody is considering, okay, I want to work from home, or I want to hang it up, how should they approach their manager, their supervisor? Should they offer up a reduction in salary? How should they do it?
My personal recommendation would be no, because most companies are contemplating remote work policies now. Go and state the case that you want to work from home for these reasons, and make sure the valid reasons are there. Make sure that you can rely on your productivity to say your track record, and you're willing to meet that track record going forward. And don't give up salary. Don't give up benefits in the first pass. I mean, because companies are going to be offering remote work options moving forward. It's just the way of the world coming ahead of us. So I would just say that's just the benefit you want and deserve, and go with it that way.
Michael Cubbs, Senior VP of Marketing for ActiveOps. Good information. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can talk again soon when we start to see these numbers go one way or the other.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Rick, and everybody have a great day.